Mr. Sanders? Mr. Sanders? It was early in the morning when local police in the small village of St. John received a call from a young woman claiming the man she worked for was lifeless in his home. When the police arrived, they broke down the door to a quiet cabin. Officer Sung walked inside. Everything seemed normal in its place. But walking into Mr. Sanders' bedroom, he took out his handkerchief and held his face. Call the forensics. How did this happen? From the condition of the body, it seems he was drowned to death about a month ago. What? A month ago? How was that possible? The entire cabin was dry, and people saw him even yesterday. His lungs were filled with water. Are you saying someone took his life and set up the body here? It could be. As Officer Sung spoke with the forensic team, one of the officers called out from the corner of the room, "Officer Sung, we found a fish and some feathers." What? Besides Mr. Sanders' bed, on the floor by his bedside table was a raw fish and feathers scattered in various places around the room. Did he bring it to cook? Call a young woman. How long have you been working here? I was assigned to Mr. Sanders since he arrived to St. John about 5 months ago. What is this doing in his room? Did Mr. Sanders bring it to cook? A fish? No, Mr. Sanders never cooked. I always brought his breakfast in the mornings and cleaned out the house while he was away. He used to have lunch at the reserve and always had dinner at the restaurant on the way back. This doesn't make sense. Officer, this fish, the feathers, these are signs. This was no ordinary death. He was hexed. You can go. As the young woman left, Officer Sung walked out, wondering what really happened here. A few of the villagers had gathered outside to see the matter. A curse had fallen on him for defiling the sacred place. Now, how can that be? Why after so many days? Even after the people have accepted it? It's so strange. How can a man drown in his bed, where there's no water, nothing? About 5 months ago, after discovering a natural gas resource in St. John, local businessmen took lease of the land and partnered with an American company to build a natural gas reserve in the village. Being assigned the task from his company, Walter Sanders traveled here to this rural village from America, thinking this project would run smooth. However, upon inspecting the site, he soon realized there was something more valuable to the villagers than the natural gas itself. We will not let you build this factory. This place is sacred. The dust of our ancestors are here. A curse will fall on us if the sanctity of this sacred place is defiled. People, your own government wants to do business with us. They were the ones who asked for our help. They have given us this place so we can develop it for your future. Will you give up on such great opportunities for your folktales and superstitions? They mean nothing, but this factory, it can provide jobs, better your lives. Our beliefs are much sacred to us than your money. The people violently objected and began protesting in the area. Fortunately, that day, Mr. Sanders was escorted out with safety by the police and taken to a nearby clinic. It'll just be a few stitches. If you have any pain, take these medications. Thank you. Despite the villagers' rejection, Walter Sanders had to find a way. He was sent here on a job, and the only way to stop these people was to convince the police to be on his side. This place is sacred to the people. They strongly believe in their superstitions. This is not going to be possible. This will be very much possible, officers, because money trumps belief, and money trumps peace. Once Walter got the approval from the police, he began arranging for the gas reserve and refinery. And it was just in a matter of months, the factory was built. And soon, as job opportunities opened up for people, and money began flowing in, people started to forget their superstitions. They were happy, and even those who initially objected had accepted the loss for something better. But now, after all this, Walter Sanders was found lifeless in his home, in mysterious conditions. After seeing the condition of Walter's remains, Officer Sung was more than intrigued. Nothing seemed to fit in, while the villagers were all claiming there was something supernatural behind this. Is it really possible someone hexed him for defiling the sacred place? Or a curse fell on him? Where did that fish come from? And those feathers? The more Officer Sung thought about the case, he couldn't make any sense out of it. Maybe I missed something. There has to be some other clue. It was late at night. Officer Sung got the keys to Walter Sanders' home and went there. Walking around, he inspected everything once more. When he suddenly noticed a painting on the wall. Crows, fish, and this girl. Isn't she that girl? Every night on his way home from the restaurant, he would see an old woman from the village selling paintings on the street. Seeing him, she would always offer him one, but Walter refused. Until one night, she stopped him and handed him one. This is an ancient art. It's not made with paint, it's made with spices. It'll bring you good luck. What's the price? For a very small price. Only 3. That night, Walter paid the old woman a 10 and bought the painting. By the time he reached home, it had begun to rain. And the electricity too had gone out. hanging the painting on the wall. Walter closed up all his doors and windows and went to bed. But sometime into the night, he woke up to the sound of dripping water. Shuffling in his bed, he ignored it. Until he thought he heard a splash. Walter got up and placed his feet down. When he was startled to see the floor was submerged in water and there were fish. How did this happen? Fish? Was there a flood? But when he opened the doors, he was confused seeing the storm had stopped. There was no flood, the rainwater wasn't overflowing. Unable to find any explanation, Walter decided to just let it be. But the next morning, as he sat in his room, he suddenly noticed a painting. There in the background, there were some fishermen bringing in fish in a net. Weren't there more fish in there? And this girl, wasn't she facing the other way? Walter found the matter quite strange, but put it off as a mere mistake. He probably hadn't seen it properly in the dark the night before. The entire day went by fine. But it was again, when night fell, strange things began to happen. Walter woke up startled, hearing a crow in the room. Jumping out of bed, he stared at the bird flying around and cawing. Walter immediately checked the windows. He had left it open. Managing to shoo the crow out, Walter closed the window and let out a deep breath. He was bewildered by the strange incident. But once again, with the rise of dawn, everything was fine. But when the rain began to pour on the third night, Walter was wide awake, waiting for what was next. If something were to happen, he wanted to see how. But the hours of the night went by, and nothing. Anxiously, Walter got out of bed. When he froze, seeing the painting, the crow in the painting, Walter was sure he had seen it, but now it was gone. But what petrified him was seeing the young woman who had been sitting on the boat, now standing, staring at him. Walter Sanders was a middle-aged man in his 40s. Even though he never got married, he had his fair share of women in life. After coming to St. John that day at the clinic, he first met Kaya. She was a beautiful young woman, and Walter was instantly attracted to her. It was from then Walter began speaking with her on excuse of his health. And now and then, Kaya came over to the cabin to look after him. They took walks by the riverside and spent good time together. Kaya would show him around town, taught him about their culture and people. And Walter was doing everything to get her into his bed. But Kaya thought it was love, and she was falling for him. It was one evening. Walter took her out on a boat ride, hoping that night would be the night. But Kaya wasn't reciprocating to any of his gestures. You guys are so outdated. It's not about being outdated. It's about values. These are our values in our culture. We value women's purity. Why do you expect everyone to follow your values? And whoever isn't willing to compromise are outdated? What kind of logic is that? You know, there's a very dark term for it in your language. Listening to Kaya, Walter realized she was never going to give in to him. Walter had never worked so hard for any girl in his life, and this girl was playing so hard to get. Seeing no other way, that night Walter tried to force himself on her. But when Kaya tried to resist, in the hustle, she got severely injured on her head and fell off the boat. Walter, help me up. So you would prefer death over being with me, even for one time? I'll never be with a man like you. Then what good are you for? You know what? Why don't you swim your way back home, little girl? In his rage that night, Walter left Kaya in the waters and turned the boat around. Kaya was a very good swimmer, and she tried her best to reach shore. But it was soon she succumbed to her wound and went unconscious before drowning to death. Walter returned home thinking Kaya deserved it. But he never expected to see her lifeless body the next morning. When police recovered her body, they were unable to figure out how or what happened, and Walter remained silent. Upon investigation, the police contacted Kaya's grandmother, the only family she had, and informed her of what happened. It was an accidental death. Kaya, my child, how could she drown? She used to swim so well. Kaya's death devastated her family. But Walter continued on with his life, behaving as if nothing ever happened. Kaya belonged to a gypsy family in St. John, and though she herself wasn't rooted into the traditions of her family, her grandmother was well bound by the mysticism of their beliefs. When Kaya was found lifeless in the river, her grandmother was devastated. The moment she touched her granddaughter's body, she knew this wasn't an accident. It was murder, and she would take revenge. So she made this painting and hexed it before she sent it to its rightful owner. Staring at the painting on the wall, Officer Sung remembered the body they had recovered about a month ago. The girl that was found drowned is her picture here.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.